Well, hello, today is the 12th of October and I'm having a few free moments. And Marielle gave me from her garden, she has those trees, she gave me some nice winter apples and I want to get rid of some of them, so I soaked some raisins. I will make something that is very famous in Austria. It's a Wiener Apfel Strudel. Right now I'm preparing the filling. I do it like my grandmother used to do. I will basically fry some of the apples, saute the apples in some brown butter in the frying pan with some sugar, raisins. The butter, of course, has to be unsalted. Very important. Any dessert you do from Europe, unsalted is it. Well, you have all done the cleaning the apples. I'm sure you know your way around an apple, so this is one of the things. You can peel the apple how you like, then you core the inside and just cut the pieces in. I want to show you something. This is something that we do in the kitchen. Less with apple skin, we do it usually with tomato skin. And it's just a little decorative thing used for decorating, sometimes plates. We make sort of a rose out of the skin, as you can see. There you go. 2 roses. I did one before and then I realized I maybe should show you. Well, I will get back with you when we fry the apples. Well, here we are. I'm then melting now some butter in the frying pan. I will show you also how to make the dough and how to work with the dough. But if you ever look for other recipes from Wiener Apfel Strudel, you will find that the variation, especially with the filling, are endless. I will put in here what I have. I will use normal white sugar inside the pit just to sweeten the deal. Now the raisins I put in warm water overnight, so they get a little bit filled up with water again. As soon as the butter gets brown, you add the apples. The brownness of the butter adds a very nice nutty flavor. Oh, okay, the spice name I'm looking for is of course cinnamon. The raisins to it. Maybe a touch more butter. It looks like it could turn out a little bit dry. I like it when it's heavy with butter. You work a lot in this recipe with butter. Again, I repeat, important not to use salted butter, any kind of salted, even half salted. It has to be unsalted butter. In any baking recipes, even your American baking recipes, try it to use, instead of salted butter, try to use unsalted butter. You will notice immediately a different flavor to the whole thing. But I will add some cinnamon now. This is cinnamon I did myself from cinnamon sticks. I showed you how I make my herbs with the coffee grinder. You get, of course, so much more flavor out of the cinnamon sticks than when you buy the powder already. So I have to be careful not to overuse it. In every housewife in Austria basically has her own little recipe for the filling. I will add a touch of vanilla extract. just because I like it. Some people don't. A lot of times it is also added some roasted hazelnut or walnut. Also almonds can be added, especially if they toast it. It will increase the flavor a lot. I will add now a handful of white sugar, crystal sugar. I usually would prefer brown sugar. I don't have any at home right now, so I'm working with what I've got. I will not dream about anything I don't have. You have to make do with what you got at home. You go shop. So, I think that is enough. I don't want to do it too much, because you will see later on when I put this onto the strudel. I hope it will be cooled down, makes it easier. At this point I don't like to put it on there warm because it makes it harder to roll the strudel. Was the preparation of the filling. I put it outside. You see my foyer there. I made actually a shelf to store food, to cool down food, to keep food overnight. It replaces in the winter. It makes it perfect, like a fridge in the early winter. Later on in January, February, it will actually become sort of a freezer. 260. Well, I will do 270. That should basically be three cups in cup size. I believe. To this I add 1 teaspoon of salt. I will add some oil. This is 25 grams of oil, or 25 milliliters of oil. And I will add 150 milliliters, or like 1 cup of water. Doesn't need to be warm water, just normal water. Because adding the water will be able to control that the dough is the right consistency. If it is too much water, you add more flour. Not enough water, you add more water. That's. Now you have to knead the dough until, well, first of all, it's not supposed to stick on your finger or on the bowl. That seems to work, although I think I need a touch more, because you need to have it able to ply afterwards quite nicely. Well, it looks like the 150 was the exact water I would have needed anyway. I do the rest kneading on my working space. You all know I have a marble top, a marble stone as a top. Don't even need, it's very well, it doesn't stick to anything. That means it should be the right consistency. Huh? I hope I did do enough kneading here. Okay, now we put the dough on the plate. I was looking for a brush. I have a brush here for barbecue and stuff. Couldn't find it. Well, it is not barbecue season, so now I put the dough on some flour so it doesn't stick eventually to the. And I'm adding some oil to the top of the dough. This is so it doesn't build a skin. And now I'm closing this up with foil, a cling film, to make sure fresh air, like this is a film building or a skin building, fresh air. So, and now this has to rest. If your room is not too warm, You can leave it in the room. I will put it in the fridge because it should be resting for at least half an hour, probably an hour. Well, here we are. Taking out. I waited about a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. Now I'm taking off as much of the oil as I added to the dough because we don't really need it or want it on there. Yeah, it didn't stick. Maybe I catch the rest of the flour with the oily side. I prepared my dough, what do you call that, towel. It's something I'm using for, but because the thing is not sticking, so now we're rolling out the dough from the inside out. As you can see, the flour on the towel and the consistency of the dough is good enough so it does not stick to the towel, which is good because the towel will be needed to roll the strudel later. Now we try to get this as thin as possible. Of course, you will realize always the outsides will be the thicker parts. We'll deal with this a bit later. But we're rolling out as thin as we can. Well, not yet. I will do almost like an Italian pizza maker. I will try to stretch the dough as thin as possible in my hands afterwards. Now, I haven't done this for years and years, and usually when you're not in practice doing this, it will be a little bit difficult, but I will see how that will work out for me today. We're stretching the dough. Of course, be very careful with your protruding finger. You do not want your finger to stick out to break the dough. Somebody who is very experienced, he will do this to the point of that you actually, well, they say you should be able to read the newspaper through this dough. That's how thin you want it. You realize if you want to make a strudel like this with any filling that you like, you don't need to bother with the dough. You can buy phyllo paste in any frozen section of some better stores. Pat phyllo or the phyllo dough. There's very, very thin sheets. The Greek used for their dessert, the baklava. And with that one, if you use 3 or 4 sheets of it, you can do the same to replace this kind of dough. I remember admiring her as a little kid when she was doing her strudels. But I told you I will not make a very big one, so this will just about have to do. It is not as thin as it could be or should be, but I will try to get some more volume out of it. Well, we can start to see the design of the towel through it. That's pretty good already. But before I add the farce, it's a little bit humid. Of course, the farce has a lot of humidity in it, so I add some breadcrumbs. This is to take away the liquid out as so we don't have a leaking strudel. This will soak up the liquid in the farce and make it just more edible. Boy, I would like you to smell this. This is just smelling delicious. My oven is in. I'm heating my oven for the last 20 minutes at 350, and we will bake. We'll put this in the oven for about 40 minutes, 30-40 minutes till it's baking golden. Oh, I forgot something. We should have added on the bottom before the breadcrumbs some more melted butter. I will do the outside now. I don't have a brush. With a brush it would be so much easier to do that. And the butter is something that will not go amiss. We will use the rest for the outside. Well, now we start. And because we're rolling, this can be used now to do the rolling easier. As you can see, actually it rolls quite nicely by hand. I'm impressed. Much easier than I thought it would be. Now of course the end dough we clip together and tuck it under. We don't want liquid to leak on the end here. Well, there we go. Looking pretty good already. Now we do the buttering the outside of the strudel. Now this is silicone paper, meaning if we have other baking paper it could stick afterwards, but silicone paper is almost like non-stick. It's fantastic for anything in the oven to do. So this should be quite fun to use. Now a little bit of sugar on top to sort of get a crunchy, crispy, and you will get a melted sugar crust, I hope. That's what they say. Voila. And it goes in the oven for, well, I will be checking every 10-15 minutes just to be sure. But however, it should start smelling just most delicious very soon. Well, that was it. Talk to you later. Well, here I am. This is my finished product. It came out very loose, it didn't stick to the ground. I will put some icing sugar over it. I don't have a smaller, it's a very big netting thing I'm using for the icing sugar, but that's at the moment all I have here. Now, in Austria, usually it is served with vanilla sauce. you can do easily in case you buy a cooking powder, a pudding powder, but not the instant pudding. Buy the one you have to cook, boil. Buy vanilla, boil it, make it softer than you do for a pudding, like half the liquid more. You can add some rum into it, or I could have added rum into this, dark rum into the filling too. That is, many Austrians do that. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great Austrian day. That was dumb of me. I forgot. Of course, I have to cut it to show you how it turned out. I want to see how it turned out too. So we will do this right now. Yeah, we'll cut right here. Now it's hot, a bit too hot still, but you see the inside. Smells delicious. Ah, perfect, 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 perfect. Yeah. This is it. Well, now we have a nice Austrian day.